Jesse, welcome to Homo Sound. Nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to see you in person as well. I've when I've done research on on your story and in your music and your art, I was really like, oh fuck, I need to meet this person. It seems like a cool person, you know. And one of the things that really resonated with me was the fact that you speak a lot about authenticity, being your true self. And I think in one of your probably Instagram post, you said something around, I feel lucky because I can be my true self, and that is also resonating with people.
Yeah.
So if you were to describe to someone that doesn't know you, who is the true MARRØN or the true Jesse, how would you describe that?
I mean, like everybody is a person. I'm just a normal person as well, you know. Who is the true MARRØN and who is the true Jesse? I would say, you know, I've been playing basketball for 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
I recently quit and, you know, focused on music only. So I had a transition, I would say, from basketball, music, and family. The last 2.5 years, I would say,
yeah,
like really at high intensity. But you know, I'm a guy who's I'm a humble guy, staying grounded, and I'm a proud person as well. You know,
yeah.
I'm trying to live life to the fullest every day. Try to be happy every day, and I can get that from different aspects, but. You know, that's me.
Yeah, that's great. And where have you ever thought of where does your happiness come from? Like, I know you have activities. You used to do modeling, as you mentioned before, like basketball. Now you do a lot with music. You have a party and event series. You have family. If you were to think about the sources of your happiness as a person,
yeah, I mean that doesn't come from things I do. It's just that I would say more experience of. Moments and times where it wasn't that great, or I'm not going to say that I had a horrible life or whatever, but just realizing the parts in life what wasn't giving me happiness.
Yeah.
And understanding what gives me happiness, you know, and that might be music, that might be basketball, it might be family, but it's just, you know, you can get it from the smallest things, and just the sunrise that comes up.
Yeah.
You know, what are you gonna do with that? You're gonna be nagging all day and gonna be sorry for the internet is not working, or you're gonna actually enjoy and make the best of it every day, work out and feel healthy.
Yeah.
These are the things that I try to focus on every day, and realizing there's always someone behind me that is less happy than I am at that moment. So there's no reason for me to nag, and I think that is my mentality pushing forward when it comes to you know, music, or when it comes to actually being with my family or with my friends. These are moments where I feel like, you know, I appreciate that, and I try to appreciate it and never try to take it for granted.
Yeah.
Just keep doing that, and keep that same intensity of appreciation. This is something that, you know, keeps me in a happy place. And of course you're gonna have bad days.
Of course, yes.
Everybody has bad days. But yeah, I'm just very grateful for the position I am in, and having my family, having my friends around me that are really supportive and real.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that keeps me happy.
Yeah, it seems like it's a huge, you know, for me, it's like you won in life, you know, already. What makes you happy, you're pursuing that, and it's like what you have, you're grateful for what you have. Is it something you think you developed over the years, or something it was always, yeah?
Of course. I cannot point something out, like what did I develop, but what I do think is that, you know, throughout the years, and made bad decisions with certain things and into good decisions with certain things, that leads to learning from your experiences and actually not making the same mistakes again. That leads to a point where that's where you hold your standard, and that's where you go further from. So yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I want to talk about the music, of course, but before that, like, I want to just quickly touch on the basketball career that you had. So you just recently quit or stopped to focus on music. What is something that basketball taught you that is now part of Jesse, of you as a person, that you bring in whatever you are?
I think my mentality, and I think my drive towards, I would say my focus. You know, for example, my greatest idol was Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
And he was possessed with working out. The guy was standing up at 4 a.m. working out 3 hours, and come at the morning practice in full sweat, while everybody was like, huh? what's this guy been doing? Calling his trainers at 4 a.m. from, yo, let's work out. And his mentality was so extreme, I could never live up to that.
Yeah.
But, you know, he gave me so much inspiration of just, you know, if you want something, you can actually work for it. And this is the part, it's going to get the most out of your potential.
Yeah.
And if you get the most out of your potential, you succeed. It's not about, oh, this is where I want to be and this is the only goal that makes you successful. No, it's getting the most out of your own potential that works best. What stays for me from my basketball experience, especially now when everybody was telling me especially like the touring part of DJing, that can be super heavy and take a toll on your body, and week in, week out, you partying, playing, staying around, partying again. This is something that I think I got from my career in basketball, that I know my body very well. I know when I realize, okay, this is too much, or this is not too much, or how to handle with it, you know. So for me, traveling, I've been traveling before, so it's not something new. Actually, the traveling part now is sometimes a bit better because I get direct flights. I didn't have that with basketball. So you know, for me, I think that helps me a lot, because my first year touring, I expected it to be way heavier. But now, as I'm going for full time, like really full time, and having, you know, almost up to 10 shows a month, I feel it. I feel it in my body as well. And coming back home, I feel like I'm tired. But you know, it's a big challenge as well, because how am I gonna stay in shape? I'm in great shape from basketball, but now I quit basketball. How am I gonna stay in the same shape? And I noticed about balancing out, you know, the lack of sleep that I have in the weekends. During the week, Monday is my off day. Tuesday, I start working out. Feel horrible during the workout, but after that, on Wednesday, I'm new again. You know, so I work out Wednesday, I work out Thursday, and Friday, I'm back on tour. So the balancing out of staying healthy and not that healthy lifestyle is really working for me.
I mean, it's a lot of effort then, like, you know, you're traveling for 3 days of your week at least. Then you're coming back, taking 1 day off, and then you're going to work out. It's intense, right?
But it's intense for that moment. But you get so much out of it. You know, and my Monday off is my Monday off, but I'm with the little one, and I'm with my girlfriend. So most of the times I just, you know, or I go play tennis and work out, and you know, it's still a day for me. So if I want to do something else, I do something else. But most of the time, after not seeing my kid for 3 days, I want to spend time with her as well. So, and the Tuesday is rough sometimes. But like I said before, it balanced me out. And if I don't work out, I do feel tired the whole week into the weekend again. That I'm doing the same routine over and over and over. That's just draining. You know, so I'm happy that I found that balance of staying healthy and keep myself in great shape to take this touring life.
Kudos for you, you know, to prioritizing and understanding what are your priorities and making the rest work. And I know now you just stopped playing basketball professionally, like very recently. This is your first year doing full-time music, if I'm not mistaken. What was hard about that decision when you thought about, okay, I'm gonna stop what used to be your passion as well and your work?
I must be honest, since 2020, when I started touring a little bit, I was always already working towards the end. You know, so I knew that eventually, in 1 or 2 years, I would just go music only. 2021 was rough because I was doing full-time music, full-time basketball. Rough. It was rough. But
and your daughter was born in 2021, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, wow.
2021, exactly. So it was a lot, you know, and kudos to my girlfriend for holding it down, because without her, I couldn't have done that. I was already working towards the end of my basketball career, and during COVID, we didn't have as many tournaments as before, or have as many games like in a regular season. So we were practicing a lot. You know, it was 5 times a week, 2 times a day, practicing. And it didn't, you know, it was actually basically I was just working out for 2 years long, with some tournaments once in a while, but most of the time I was spending already time on my touring part. So it was already, I didn't really miss it that much because I was already just working out. It didn't have games. So for me to actually stop playing basketball wasn't as hard for now.
Yeah.
I think that missing part will start after a year where I really didn't play for a year, and when those guys are going back to the Olympics again.
Wow.
That's probably when I'm gonna feel like
you're gonna miss.
Yeah. You know,
sure.
but until that time, you know, I've like for last year, I've toned the practices down a little bit. I practice from 10 times a week to 5 times a week to 3 times a week, and then the last 2 months, November, December, I practiced 2 times a week. Then I went to the team, and you know, I talked to them. I was like, you know, I want to stay in shape. Can I still practice with you guys for 2 times a week this year? I mean, this year, 2023. They were like, yeah, if you're going to be sure that you're going to be those 2 days, because otherwise we don't have anything.
Yeah.
You know, it's a professional program, so they need to make progress as well. And if I come in and out and be on tour 2 weeks and then come back and practice a little bit, that doesn't make sense for them.
Right.
We tried that for a month, didn't work.
Because you were touring.
Of course, it didn't work. Of course, it didn't work.
Yeah.
So that was the part where we actually had to say, you know, it's time to break up.
Right.
And I agreed with him, you know, but it was very hard to actually let go, let go of that comfort zone that I had since I was 10.
That's crazy. Like, you know, it's part of your identity at some point.
It's part of my identity. It's everything that I was, you know, and it's weird for me to say that I'm not a hooper anymore. It's really weird for me to say, but it's the truth. It's time. It was time, and you know, to hang up the shoes and to retirement. I made one deal with him that I could still come 1 time a week to work out for myself. Yeah, just for my conditioning part, you know. And so I still touch the ball, and I feel like when I still touch the ball, I don't really miss it.
Yeah.
Because I don't need to play the games anymore, because I have so much fun and so much drive for music, you know. So my main focus is already there, but I just want to still hold on to my shape.
Yeah, of course. It's still part of you. Like, you know, it's part of a previous version of you, perhaps, but it's a big part of your life. Yeah. And good transition to music. So let's talk about RCA Community. And that's the part you started, if I'm not mistaken, around 2016 or something like this. And I read a lot of interviews where you explain how you started. It was something you started with your friends on Sundays, daytime, with 4 of your friends. That evolved into illegal raves for a while, and then you went into, I think, Garage Noord, something like this in Amsterdam. And when you look back at the journey, and now it's been like 9 years, I guess, and what changed and what stayed the same? First party to latest party you did.
First party was a lot of change. We came in with no knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, the only part that we existed out of the need that we had from the dance floor. You know, so we were all very dedicated people on the dance floor. We really loved the music that we loved, and we were seeking for something that we could have in a consistent level. You know, we noticed in Amsterdam everything was based on the big clubs and the big names.
Yeah,
this is what it was based on. There was nothing. There was no space for. There was always space for new talent, but it wasn't like it is now.
Right.
And we wanted to do something crazy, which was, you know, not announce any lineups and just have a very consistent flow of music throughout the day. Starting in the day, coming into or ending in Monday morning. But Amsterdam wasn't ready. You know, we know Gils was already living here in Berlin, which is one of my partners, and he went to a party. It was called Staub in about Blank, which was like 10 in the morning, like 10 till 10 at night, or like 24 hours even. Yeah. But he was like, you know, we have to do something like that in Amsterdam on a Sunday, because there wasn't not much on a Sunday, sometimes to school. But have our sound of that we really love, you know, as music, and have that throughout the whole day. And we were so convinced it was going to work, because, you know, it didn't exist yet, it wasn't there yet, and we feel like, you know, Amsterdam is, you know, this is something we can do. We're going to pop it, and we were so convinced that we will have a full club.
People will come.
30 throughout the whole day. 30 people. 30 people. And the school came up with an event like 2 weeks before or something on the same day, because we didn't realize it, but it had a lot of effect on us and even our friends. You know, they came through, but they went to the school after. So it was. So
everybody wanted to go to the school because it was like huge club established.
Of course, you always trust that one club that you always go to. This was the thing in Amsterdam. So there was a big shock for us, and of course, it's the first event. We knew, okay, bang, it's not a lot of people. Then the second event and the third event, it's equal, like a little bit more people, but it wasn't really attacking. You know, it wasn't really working. We really thought, okay, Amsterdam is not ready for this. Then we stayed quiet for like a couple months, I would say. And the one thing that I'm very, very proud of, and I'm really happy about, is we stuck to our beliefs. We stuck to what we wanted and what we believed in musically and for a club scene.
Yeah.
And we didn't shy away from it to become more popular.
Yeah.
You know, so it took us years to actually get to the point where we got our success. And I think, you know, people know us from 2018 when it all started with the illegal race and the you know, the videos that went viral and stuff. But this is some stuff that went before that not a lot of people know of, that, you know, it was not always that great at the beginning. And what did we learn from that? I would say, yeah, just sticking to our beliefs and sticking to our concept. But when we started the raves in 2018, that's when we blew up.
Yeah.
That's when we really blew up. The first one was like 100 people, then the second one was like about 150. The third one was with the video that went viral, it was like 450. And then we went indoor.
Okay.
So this part is very important because we went from illegal raves to an indoor club.
Illegal raves outdoor, I guess.
Outdoor.
Yeah.
The thing is, in Amsterdam, there's a group of people which are only going to illegal raves. These people helped us carry our stuff.
Yes.
Went from Amsterdam Westport all the way out of the city to Amsterdam North. Didn't work out because the police came again. Went to Amsterdam Sloterdijk. They were traveling with us. We couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe it, but it was our foundation of who we are today.
Amazing.
And this is also where our door policy is coming from, because we knew these people are only going to illegal raves, most of them. How are we going to translate that to an indoor club?
Mm-hmm.
So we felt like, okay, we have to come out with a strategy where we hold this as a safe space for the people that actually feel free. Because these people at illegal raves, they go to illegal raves to feel free.
Yeah.
They don't want to care. They don't want to worry about no security guard or people watching them or taking movie or films or photos. They just want to be free on the dance floor. That's it. So to translate that to an indoor club is really tough. You know, it's really tough because you're going to combine it with people that go to club scenes. You built up a hype. You got people coming from the illegal race. You bring it all together. But to bring it all together, it could fit, but you need to have the same mindset towards a party, you know? So that's where at the beginning, we looked for a place which was tiny, 350 people, great sound. Garage Noord has that.
Yeah.
You know, it's a square box.
Perfect.
And it's one dance floor. And the music better be fucking good. Excuse my language. It better be fucking good because there's 16 hours partying. There's one space. It's not like Bergen. You can go places and go different directions. It's one place. The music better be good because you won't have people stick to the dance floor.
Yeah.
The garden and the dance floor. You know, if you don't have that, then people will leave.
Yeah.
You know,
or they go smoke outside and stay there, whatever, you know.
There's 3 hour sets with the closing 4 hour set. So if the 3 hours are horrible, then people will leave. They're like, nah, man, we're leaving. You know, so we knew that it was so important to have good consistent flow of music throughout the whole day and have the right amount of people inside who can really match together.
Yeah. So interesting. And one question that came to mind is, like you said, you stuck. So there is a space between your first party, 2016, and 2018, the outdoor raves, where it was a challenge for you to throw a party indoor in Amsterdam. When you look back at that experience, what do you think made you stuck to your beliefs, that made you go ahead, even when you were not getting traction?
You know what it was? This is the only thing that we loved.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a very diverse DJ. I'm very specific in the sound that I love. This sound came from me being on a dance floor and hearing those parts from my idols and from other DJs, you know, those 10 minutes parts where they had that really rolling groovy feel to it. I was like, man, I could hear this for 20 hours. I would always say that when I was on dance floor. I would tell my friends, man, I can hear this for 20 hours. This is how my sound existed. Just having that those parts and those tracks that I had to bring it out in a consistent flow. This is what I wanted, you know. So sticking to our beliefs is coming from love and love for this type of music and love for this industry that we wanted to create. So for us to do something else, that means we had to give up our love, what we love to do, and do something for success. Doesn't fit for me. I was not even trying to become a DJ. I was a basketball player. Remember? So
for you, this was like fun, pure fun project.
It was fun and passion, you know, and that's why I say I'm always lucky, because we got realized and we got recognized for the things that we love to do. We don't have to change anything to make it work.
Yeah.
And this is something that I never take for granted and always hold value to, because that's, you know, I mean, that's a gift. Like to do what you love to do. It comes easy, and then people actually love you for it.
Yeah, so. It is, yes, it's true. And you speak a lot about authenticity and being in integrity as well, like with your values and things like, do you feel sometimes there is in you or in your group of people, like some pressure from the outside to bend your authenticity that you need to resist from, or you just don't give a fuck? You're like, whatever the industry people are talking about, I don't care. This is what I want to do.
Like I said, I see a lot of DJs changing their style, and I see a lot of parties changing their sound and everything. And it's easy for us to say, and easy for me to say, like, oh yeah, he's bending his integrity or whatever. I cannot speak for someone else, because I don't know how hard it is, and that comes from me starting, and it was already at the beginning, loving what I had to do, and people appreciated me for it. I don't know the pressure of people telling me like, oh, you should do this or you should do that, or you should change because it's not working anymore, because I've not experienced that yet. Yeah. You know, so it's very hard for me to judge someone else for their choices they're making. You know, I can only advise what worked for me, and that's staying true to yourself. And that worked for me. It might not work for everyone. You know, and that's the hard part of it. It might not work for everyone now, but maybe in 5 years it will, because you stuck to yourself. And maybe not. You know, it's not a guarantee.
Nobody knows the future, right?
Nobody knows. Yeah. So I stay away from judging other people. I stay away from judging other scenes, from the commercial scene or whatever. I just try to focus on me and what I do with RCA Community and how it affects the other people in the scene. Yeah. How can we positively affect other people in the scene? That's the only thing I'm focusing on.
Yeah. And in terms of your personal journey as a DJ, when did you start DJing actually?
My first time I touched the decks were like 2015, 2016, yeah.
Okay, so just before RCA Community.
Yeah.
And then you're now doing this like professionally, full time. This is like your focus. And is there something that you do to, for example, like to push it forward constantly, like to actually, let me ask you a question in a different way. What does success look like for Jesse when it comes down to DJing?
Yeah, good question. Like all the way back coming into where I first touched the decks and I was playing a little bit. This I didn't have any focus on becoming a DJ. It was just me trying to put in the most tracks that I liked, to put in back to back in one set, or like an hour, and record that. As like I was first learning how to play, of course, but I was recording sets for myself, to hear all the tracks that I really love, to hear the consistent sound, you know, for an hour long for me, because I was always skipping sets. I was always skipping sets, like to parts where I loved it. So for me, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get all these tracks and try to mix it after one another, and just, you know, have it in 1 hour or 2 hours. And then when I recorded it and listening back, I got to hear that, it's not the dynamic I was looking for. Oh, this track doesn't really fit to this. This is how I got addicted to creating the good track selection and having a good flow. And that took me a year or two to do that, you know. And at a certain point, I was actually enjoying my own mixes. This is when I started putting out the mixes on SoundCloud, because I felt comfortable, and my friends was like, yo, you gotta put this out. But it was still not my intention to become a DJ. Yeah. And shortly after that, my first set of my podcast series, in Bakabusi, from my Njuka podcast series. This is when I started just to, you know, make up my name and have my little concept around it and everything. And I just put out my own set. And that set went viral.
Okay.
in Berlin mostly.
So
And
interesting.
yeah, that went viral. And that was not the first set I've put out, I think, but it was the first set of my series. And that worked really well. And that's when one of my partners, Isabella, she told me like, yeah, trust me, in a couple of years, you're going to have to stop playing basketball. I'm like, you crazy, stop.
No, no way.
What are you saying? No way. I was still playing. I was like, no way. I'm just doing this for fun. And started realizing out, I was still putting out more music because I really loved that, people loved it actually and they enjoyed it. I was like, man, this is pretty cool, So I was putting out more series, and I was just had that concept of, going through my roots, because the name MARRØN has a lot of history in Suriname. And I would make every set, I would make a story from my history, my different tribes, and try to have a vision. When I'm mixing a mix, I'm always having the same type of vision, but it will always end up differently. One might be a little bit harder, a little bit edgier, or some might be really steady, groovy, but I don't make that up beforehand. It's just, it ends up that way.
Yeah.
So
Based
it's
on what
funny,
you're
I have
feeling.
a vision of when it comes to one of my history parts, but then, making the music, it just flows out there. And this is how I kind of started to take off, to actually realize like, okay, I might take this a little bit more serious now.
Yeah.
And but I would never dare to let go of basketball.
Yeah. And then now that you essentially are a full-time DJ, do you have, like, is there a success for you, or for now you're focusing on what feels good, what feels right for you, and you figure it
I
out?
could say it's definitely a success.
Yeah.
Also as a basketball player, I've had success, but what I'm realizing now and what I experience now is way beyond that. What I had with basketball. I used to be that person on the dance floor as well. Most of the times on Berghain, getting inspiration and just, losing myself out there. And now sometimes I cannot even dance 10 minutes before someone's coming up to me and realizing who I am, or on a hill in Porto and people just walk up to me and show me they're listening to my set that I don't know, and that stays unreal to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It is insane. So if I'm talking about people knowing me all around the world and appreciating my music, I can definitely call that a success, definitely. And I think the most important thing about that is just gaining it with doing what I love to do, and people appreciating me for it. And that's something, like I said before, I will never take for granted.
For sure. Do you have like a specific plan, like a 5-year vision? I want to do something like this, or you're just going with the flow for now?
The thing is that when I first started, I've gained, like I said, in 10 years, I want to be in, playing the Berghain. I thought that was a fair dream, okay, this is my goal.
Yeah.
Berghain. I had a couple places that I wanted to play, and we'll see, But now I don't really have a vision of where I want to be in 10 years.
Yeah.
Now I just try to appreciate as much as I do. And my goal is to be, instead of now I feel like I live on a hype. And I want to become an establishment, and becoming an establishment out of a hype is to continue what you're doing and stay focused. Don't lose your work. Don't stay on that cloud 9 of, oh, look at this and look at that, and everything's so beautiful and everything is so working well. I'm sticking to what got me there in the first place, and I'm sticking to that. I'm having that same intensity of work and same mindset towards, I would not say success, but same mindset into becoming better, development.
Yeah, which is what you were saying about your potential, right? So you do something that crafts
exactly.
you.
So I'll try. I'm working out. I'm working to get the most out of my potential.
Yeah.
And I think that is a lot at this point, but you never know in 2 years. The scene might change completely, and the sound might change completely, and I know it's not for me anymore then. I hope not, because I've chosen a music style which I think is timeless. This type of techno is timeless. It was there way before me, and I hope it will be way beyond this time. So
and very interesting point, especially about your style of music, the music that you put together. I think I would call it like groovy music, groovy, mostly techno, let's say, and very fast. it's always relative, like how fast something is. But what do you look for when you're selecting tracks for a set? Do you look for something specific?
Yeah.
And what is your way of finding this music?
For me, digging is hard work. I think it's hard work for everyone. But see, you have a lot of DJs who play on CDJs and loop a lot.
Yeah.
They can hear an element in a track and feel like, I can use this. I'm different. I need to feel the track from start to finish. Because because at first I wasn't looping too much either. So I was really looking for tracks that really fit to me that I was trying to hear. That could be on a very low BPM, but I could pitch it up and make it feel like it's my own.
Yeah.
So I was playing 2 decks for a long time. And this 2 decks mixing, I think, has made me a better DJ. Because 2 decks mixing can sound very track to track, to track, to track, to track. But if you make it dynamic and you feel like you can make dynamics out of 2 decks, that's when I felt, that's when you're becoming a good DJ. Look at Freddie K.
Yeah. I mean,
Final Only, let's not even talk about that. But the dynamics that he creates out of 2 decks for 13 hours long, he kept me on one block dancing for 6 hours long without drinking and not even going to the toilet.
Yeah.
And I was just completely lost in his music because the dynamics that he brought and kept the energy so high has inspired me in many ways, and for me that is being a good DJ. Now that I've became more skilled and playing 3-4 decks sometimes, I do feel I make it easier on myself. You make it easier in a way of creating dynamics. It's not easier of keeping everything online, but creating dynamics 3-4 decks is easier. Do it with 2 decks is hard because it will feel like you're taking one out and you're taking one in. So that's why I was always looking for tracks that really fit to me from start to finish, So I'm always looking for a low end that's heavy, but not too heavy, punchy, and has a certain role, like that can be in a bass line, can be in a certain warm kick. This is the most important thing for me. Then in the mids, I'm looking for tracks that can be interesting, unexpected, but not too busy. Because
you want to layer different tracks.
Because I want to layer different tracks, and the thing is, I'm allergic to busyness. So I want to create the mids and the highs with layers that makes it interesting. So sometimes I play tracks that by itself it sounds kind of boring. But layered, they sound amazing. So I'm always looking for the minimalistic sound of techno, where I can feel I can really make it my own by pitching up or pitching down, or layering it with other type of tracks, different type of hi-hats, claps that I really love. And that's how when you start with one track and you find a new artist, you start digging more of that person. You know how that goes. And but this is the specific sound that I'm looking for always. And sometimes it can be in a different way, because now I'm playing a lot. I'm looking for also a side where it's a little bit more to the Detroit sound, sometimes a bit of a vocal, and sometimes always the more deeper sound, Because I'm not a guy that pitches up a lot during a set. I don't start a lower BPM and then pitch it up to, let's see, 4 or 5 BPM during a 3-hour set. I stick to my BPM mostly, maybe go up 1 or max 2. But I try to change my energy flows throughout the different type of tracks. So, and that works for me.
Yes. Okay, very interesting. So you answer also how you find artists and music. Is there any new, let's say, groups of artists, anything that excites you that you have come across lately? Maybe it's a party or a scene.
That's the thing. Like since I started to come up, also a lot of young producers and new producers that are new, just make tracks basically that exactly what I want to hear. So it makes it even easier for me going through some of my promos. Not always, trust me, not always. But there's a lot of unknown guys and girls that brings up new music that really fits to me. So that's a blessing, of course. And and I think there's a lot of talent that came, and what I appreciate so much about it now is that they get the chance also. They get the chance. The big artists playing that music as well, and there's a lot of people that I can name. From the Six Collective, Catch, for instance, he's one of my favorite producers. Then you have Iglo. There's a guy from Germany as well. Flaws, Ines, Hitam.
Yep.
The guys, of course, from RCA Community, Rene Weiss. Let's not even talk about the new guy. He's been there. But you know, there's a lot of young artists that come up, you know, and learned how to produce 3 years ago, and bring good quality music. So I'm really happy to see that.
Yeah, it feels great. It feels like there's a lot of like new music, new people coming up into the scene. It's beautiful. It's like feels like wow. It's like we're expanding finally, and there's people who are doing different things. I think there's a lot of variety. I think in techno as well now.
Yeah,
which is a great thing to see.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a very good side of it, and it's also a side where you think like, yeah, but. See, everybody's becoming a DJ now. Everybody can easily become a DJ now, and so this is a line of where, you know, who's being real and who is just on a come up and trying to bring success. Yeah, because that's also a thing, you know. And you can hear that while I've seen like artists, for example, JSPRV35, a guy from Amsterdam, Jesper. He started sending me tracks about 3 years ago. And he just started, and you could hear the potential, but it wasn't really there yet. Yeah. And he would keep sending me tracks. And at a certain point after a year, she was bomb. Wow. And now, 2 years later, it's amazing. You know, and I really love playing his tracks. And him as a DJ also, development is insane. So that's someone who really paid due to his craft. Yeah. He really works hard to become better.
How beautiful to see like also the progress, right?
Exactly. Beautiful to see the progress, but also the most important thing for me to see is why he's doing it. Just to perfect his craft, not to become famous. You know, and if you see someone do that way, like that's what it's about, you know? That's how you become better and become or get the most potential out of yourself.
Yes. Super important. And if you were to give one word of advice to maybe a younger Jesse, or to an up-and-coming producer now or DJ, what would you tell them is a very important thing to keep in mind?
Stick to your beliefs.
Yeah.
Stick to your beliefs. Don't bend. Don't go for what's popular. Mm-hmm. You know, go for what you're seeking for on the dance floor. If you were a person that's been on the dance floor a lot and like to dance a lot, just hear what you really like, and from there on you got to find your own sound. Don't follow a hype and then know that I like this, and then you know, when it's not really working anymore, it's not really working for you at the time of period that you want to, jump onto another hype and see if that's working, because then you're not there for the music. Yeah. Then you're there for the success. And you know, and that success will not stay long. That's what I believe. Maybe, but that's what I believe. So I feel like, you know, stick to your beliefs, and sooner or later it will come. You know, and patience is the most challenging thing that is in life, probably. Very hard. Do you have patience? No. Do you have patience, and do you get distracted from other one's success? I try not to look at other one's career. I try to focus on myself. You know, my career might go different than other ones, but I try to make my own steps and see where I can go. And I plan this with my agent, of course. You know, where can we go together? And I trust him 100% with leading me to there.
I've come to believe, and I'll be wrong on this, but like I think that patience, like if you're embarking a journey that says music production and you're not patient, it's already an indication of maybe you're not doing that for the right reason. Yeah. Because if you're impatient about having validation from the outside world, and you stop producing because you're not getting where you want, like you probably don't love producing, right? Yeah. You're just doing that it's a mean to an end, and you're chasing the end that you think producing will get you to. Yeah. And that's a good indication, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And I think also with DJing, if you're constantly looking for validation from other people, then what are you doing it for? You're not doing it for you. You're not doing it because you love to do it. It should come from passion and love itself, you know, and you should love it. And from there on, it creates something. And I think if you're constantly looking for validation from other people, and again, maybe it's easy for me to say type of stuff like this, but this is my point of view. So if you're constantly looking for validation from other people, then you'll never be happy with what you're doing. Like, you know, you can never follow your own view and vision of music. Yeah. because you're constantly thinking, oh, this might not work there. Like,
Yeah. It's like a glass that is always that has a hole. You need to keep pouring something from someone else.
Exactly.
I'm going to ask you the last few questions. One is, I saw on your Instagram you took a 3 weeks break beginning of this year, and you said like, I really want to spend time with my family. Like, how important it is for you to spend time with your family? Now you have a daughter, of course. You have a girlfriend for a number of years, and you have a lot of friends. Like, 2 questions: how important that is for you, for your happiness, and the second question is that what do you proactively do for that to be in your life?
It's very important to me. It's very important to me. Everyone that is a father and is living with their family will understand.
Yeah.
But for me, like, you know, coming home and seeing my daughter and she, you know, running up to me with the arms open and to hug me is the most precious thing in life. For me to have that 3 weeks every January and go to Bali, which we will do for the coming 3 years because we absolutely love it.
You already booked? Like,
no, not yet, but we will book almost. And until she goes to elementary school, we love to, you know, go back there in January because this is my vacation month.
Yeah.
So and it was beautiful. It was wonderful to do that, you know, and for me to have my 1.5-year-old daughter to realize and say, wow, when she sees palm trees and she sees blue water, I'm like, what is happening here? That means, you know, that's, if I think it's beautiful and she realizes at the age of 1.5 years that it's beautiful, that makes me so happy and really re-energized me for throughout the whole year. So it's very important to me to take my time with them and spend my time, especially my girlfriend who has been so patient with me for, you know, all the traveling and then even basketball. My kid was born and 2 weeks later I had to go to the Olympics. I was gone for 2.5 weeks. She had to do everything herself for 2.5 weeks. You know, and she didn't complain once.
Wow.
Not once. So for me, she is very important for me, but also she is also a big part of my success. Because without her, I could not do my work the way I'm doing it right now. You know, so it's very important to invest time for me, not only for them, but also for me. Or not only for me, but also really for them to, you know, to have daddy around for 3 consecutive weeks. We didn't have that until she was born. So it's very important for me, and I will keep taking that time.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of artists that take time in the studio for 1 or 2 months in January, February. And but yeah, I have a family. I have to compromise, and I have to you know, this is what also gives me a lot of good energy. So this is something that I really pay attention to, that I have this.
You need to protect the time and like make time for this.
Definitely. And during the weeks, you know, I still see my friends, and I have more time now that I don't play basketball. I still work out. I still see my friends, and it's also at the beginning now. These guys, and most of them, they're so 80% of my shows, my friends are joining.
That's amazing. How do you convince them to travel with you?
Say
like
again?
When they're in Amsterdam, fair enough. But if you travel, they come with you.
They come.
Amazing. Do you ask them, or do they just say?
No, they come. They telling me, they see my schedule. Hey, this weekend I'm coming. I'm booking my flights, bro.
Amazing.
It's really fun. You know, it's really fun.
It's a gift.
It's really a gift, you know. But also sometimes I need to go alone, because then I can just actually sleep before my gig and then go. You know, because then they come and they want to party, of course. But I have one of my best friends, Jeremy, and he's been there from the start. You know. Going traveling with me, and even when I went to Colombia, he went with me.
Amazing.
You know, and he's also one. If I go to sleep before a gig, he goes to sleep before a gig. You know, it's not that he has to party. He just want to have that experience and support me throughout my tours and journeys, and that's, you know, that's a blessing, and I don't take that for granted. So yeah, I invest time in them as well. And it's just nice to have it around, and I feel really grounded around my people, you know. So it's really
it's a gift.
Definitely, man.
Makes life 100 times better.
For sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask you the last question, which is a traditional Homo sound. We ask every guest to throw a question for one of the next guests. So there is also a question from one of the previous guests for you. You can decide. You can ask your question first, or you can get the question. You do both, but you can decide which one you want first.
Let me hear the question first.
Okay. In spite of what, you do what you do.
In spite of what I do what I do. What does inspite mean again?
Or meaning like, despite like this definitely challenges in whatever you do in your life, despite these challenges and struggles,
Yeah.
like you do what you do. What are the challenges, the biggest challenges that you have in your life?
The biggest challenges that I have in my life. I don't really feel like I have a really big challenge right now that I have in my life. The big challenge was to combine everything. My modeling, like the modeling part, the basketball part, the DJing part, my family.
Yeah.
That was the year before. Now I don't feel a pressure of, a challenge. The biggest challenge that I would say is my long-term goal, which is reaching my most potential that I have within me. Becoming an establishment out of a hype. This is a challenge. This is a real challenge, and I think I'm going in the right direction, but we'll see in a couple of years if people are still hyped up about my sound. Because trust me, I won't change.
Yeah.
I won't. This is what I love to do. I won't change. And of course, you develop. Because if I look back to my first sets, when I hear it back, I hear so many things that I would do a bit differently. But my vision was always the same thing. So I didn't really on purposely change it. It just happened to be that way because of development. But my sound-wise and the music that I believe in, I won't change. So it's a big challenge to keep this alive and keep this hype good in a way where in 10 years, in 20 years, it's still good,
Yeah.
This is my biggest challenge, I think,
Got it, okay. Beautiful. And what question you want me to ask the next guest?
I think the question would be, for how long can you keep the same energy
to do it,
to do what you do?
Great. I think he's gonna.
I think that's a pretty good one.
It's a very good one. Jesse, immense pleasure. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, guys, and it was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.